Hello, everybody. Welcome to the new Jaguar question and answer. My name is Errol Nguyen. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admissions here at IUPUI. And we're really excited that you all decided to join us today. A little bit about myself, as I'm going to be the facilitator for today. And I'm very excited to be able to do so. I'm originally from Kentucky, came to Indianapolis because I was excited to be able to take on a job here at IUPUI, an institution that has been on the rise the past decade and has been doing some amazing things. And my last 2 years here have been incredible. And I'm really passionate about what IUPUI means to this community and really the IUPUI difference. And so we're really excited to be able to engage with you today. First and foremost, I want to take the moment to congratulate all of the seniors that are on this call. You all have endured some really unique and amazing times, and we're all very proud of you. And we want to make sure that we acknowledge your tremendous accomplishment in terms of making it through your senior year and making it through your senior year amidst the challenges that have been brought about by COVID-19. And to the parents as well, we want to thank you. So when it comes to today, our goal is to do two things. Number one, with the recent announcement of our fall restart plans and you all eager to know what your college experience is going to look like, we want to engage a panel of our top leaders here at IUPUI to help you, number one, visualize the campus experience at IUPUI. The second thing that we want you to do is to help you understand what those next steps are so you're prepared to enter in the fall come August 24th. And so we have a panel of some amazing individuals. Number one, we've got our leader, Chancellor Nasser Paydar, who's going to bring introductory comments and welcome to all of you. And from there, we've got three panelists. Dr. Boyd Bradshaw, who is the institution's Chief Enrollment Officer. He's going to talk about financial aid and the admissions process. Then we have Dr. Jay Gladden, who is the lead of our Division of Undergraduate Education. He'll chat with you about Summer Bridge Week as well as orientation. And then we have Dr. Eric Weldy from our Student Affairs Office, who is going to engage you all about the student experience and housing and more. So the themes that we gathered from you, and we want you to know, as we have gone through this journey together, we've been paying attention to your calls to our office, the email inquiries you've had, the Facebook 2024 group. And we've not only brought together a list of really those core themes that we know you want answers to, we also gave you the opportunity to submit questions so that we are able to answer those as we go along. You'll also have the chance during this webinar to, right here at the bottom where you see the Q&A button, to submit live questions so that we can submit. Now, I want to be honest with you. There were a lot of questions, and we're going to try our best to really bucket them and answer as many as possible within this next hour or so. But you will have the chance and the opportunity to schedule an individualized meeting at the end with one of our admissions counselors to have a follow-up discussion for anything that went unanswered. And any questions that you post below, we're also going to do some email follow-up to you and send you resources. So the flow of the program is really about you. We want to make sure that we're answering as many questions that you have, get you really excited about coming to IUPUI in the near future. Recognize that we have many of our family members in the IUPUI community that are here in this webinar right now. And we want to make sure that you feel comfortable about what the next steps are. And where we don't have answers, we'll be committed to ensure that we get you the next steps so that you feel comfortable about coming here in the fall. So without further ado, we would like to bring in our Chancellor, Dr. Nasser Paydar, to give welcome remarks. And I think Chancellor Paydar, you're
on. Well, thank you, Aaron. Let me begin by congratulating all of you for being admitted to IUPUI. I want to officially welcome class of 2024 IUPUI Jaguars. This must be an exciting time in your lives, even with the uncertainty we are all facing these days. This is the time for you to explore pathways to your future. And it's okay, by the way, not to be sure what major you want to get into. And you should make the decision in the first year, but IUPUI is one of the most comprehensive campuses in the state of Indiana, so you have many choices. You're on a campus with lots of choices in degree programs. And you're also on a campus with most diverse student body because we are committed to diversity on this campus. Speaking about diversity, let me say now how deeply we support the call for action against racist violence that has swept the country. At this point, let me share with you a little bit about the campus you're admitted. We have 30,000 students, 22,000 undergraduates, and that leaves us 8,000 or so at the graduate level. We have students from all Indiana counties, 50 states, and 144 countries at IUPUI. As I mentioned, we are one of the most comprehensive universities in the state of Indiana with over 500 degree programs right here in Indianapolis. And we have outstanding academic programs. Some of them are very unique and the first in the nation. So we have the only school of dentistry in the state of Indiana, the first school of philanthropy, the first school of informatics and computing right here was established in Indianapolis. We have the first and the only bachelor's degree in motorsports engineering. The list goes on. We have outstanding and one of the largest science programs on our campus. It's a very unique campus with all sorts of outstanding opportunities for students. And we have some of the biggest. We have the largest school of medicine in the country here. We have the second largest school of nursing here. One of the largest engineering and technology programs in the state is right here at IUPUI. So we are proud of our many programs and we are proud of our students and we are delighted to have you on our campus. Now, as you face one of the biggest transitions in your life, starting at college, it's important to connect with people in meaningful ways, classmates. We have hundreds of organizations on our campus and we want you to get in there and connect with them, but maintain social distancing, of course. This fall is going to be different for all of us. We'll offer a blend of online and face-to-face classes at IUPUI. We have been delivering online programs since 1989. We are experts. We have highest number of online programs. We've always had it among all Indiana University campuses. Now, while we expect most of you want to be on campus this fall, we'll be offering online courses for those of you who wish not to come to the campus this fall. So there are choices for students for on-site or online programs here at IUPUI. For those of you who want to be on campus, we have worked very hard in creating and preparing for this fall for you, for our faculty and staff. We have consulted with health and medical experts. We are following local, state, and national guidelines. But more importantly, we have an agreement with IU Health for testing all of our students as there is a need for it. The contract is there. All you need to do is go to a website when you become student if you need to check your health. We have thought of many things to keep our campus and students safe. That's ultimate goal of this institution, to educate our students in a manner that you feel comfortable with while keeping our faculty staff safe. I know there are some parents in the program this evening. As a parent of two sons myself, I always wanted three things for my kids. I wanted them to be healthy, happy, and get an outstanding education. And at IUPUI, we will take care of your kids, your children, your students, and we are ready to take them on and move them through the education in a safe manner this coming fall. Now, I want to again congratulate all of you, and I will work very hard to make sure that the freshman year is one of the best years of your life. Before I pass it on back to Errol, I want to thank you for being here. I'm going to stay online and listen to your questions and your comments to understand what are the things that you have in mind. Again, congratulations and thank you very much. Earl?
Chancellor Padar, thank you so much. I'm pleased to now pass it along to my direct supervisor, Dr. Boyd Bradshaw. As Chancellor Padar said, as soon as we met to make the decision to transition all of our programs virtually and engage you all with trying to answer questions as best as possible, Dr. Boyd Bradshaw has been right there, trying to get the answers for us and making sure that you all feel comfortable as we go through this process. So I'm happy that he's here to share some remarks with you all. Dr. Bradshaw.
Well, it's a great pleasure, as Chancellor Padar mentioned, to be with you today. And I just want to say congratulations and welcome to the IUPUI family. It is truly an amazing time to be a student, and it's all about change. And I feel really good about the hard work that's happening behind the scenes to prepare for your arrival in the fall. We also realize that many of you are at different stages. Some of you are still debating whether you're going to enroll in the fall. Some of you have made that decision and you're wanting to know what it's going to be like to live on campus. What is the classroom environment going to be like? What is dining options going to be like when I arrive? And what we're trying to do is answer as many questions as possible as we work through this Q&A today. And as Errol mentioned, we know there are going to be some questions that don't get answered, but we have come up with ways to do that and to provide you the information that you will receive later on. My sole responsibility at IUPUI is to make sure students are successful in working with my team. From the time that a student raises their hand and say, I'm interested, to the time that they graduate. And my offices provide a lot of services to students. The Office of Financial Services, it provides financial aid and scholarships. The Office of Undergraduate Admissions, who are only just recruiting students, but also helping in the transition. And the Office of the Registrar, who basically is the brains, what I would say, behind the operation of what happens in the classroom and making sure that the classes are on a schedule and that we have an academic catalog and many, many more things. And so, we feel like we're ready. And the decision to be open in the fall, both on campus and also in a virtual environment, I think will be wonderful as we move forward. So again, welcome. And Errol, I will shoot it back to you to start the Q&A.
All right. So again, just a quick reminder of what the process is going to be. Right at the bottom, you'll have the opportunity to submit questions live. We have a team reviewing it, and then they'll pass them along to me. So if you see me look over to the right, it's not because I'm not paying attention to you. I'm making sure that we're sifting through those questions. And then also keep in mind that any questions that do not get answered, there will be an opportunity for you to schedule an individualized admissions counseling appointment with one of our team members, and we'll talk about that at the end as well. And we're going to hop right into the questions. So the 6 themes that we really gathered that you all, from your all's questions, are housing, orientation and summer bridge week, financial aid and scholarships, tuition and fees, fall instruction method, and then fall student experience. You'll notice I put 2 concepts together in one for some of them. So that may not have sounded like 6, but I promise it was. We're going to hit all of those, okay? And we're going to start with really the hot topic that we've seen from you all in terms of the fall instruction. So our first question in terms of fall instruction has to do with the way that the fall is going to look. So what will attending classes look like in the fall? And will there be a mix of in-person and online days? I'm going to pass that to Dr. Jay Gladden to take. Dr. Gladden?
Sure, thanks, Errol. And good evening to everybody out there. A little background on myself. I've been at IUPUI for almost 11 years now. And in my work, I oversee orientation, Bridge Week, the entire first year experience, academic and career development on campus, as well as a number of peer mentoring programs, the Honors College, and our Institute for Engaged Learning that strives to create as many neat and deep and hands-on learning experiences for our students. To your question, Errol, specifically, what will the fall look like? Well, as Chancellor Padar mentioned, we are very focused on ensuring the safety of our community. That's first and foremost. And certainly the classrooms will look different. There won't be as many people in each of the classrooms. They won't be filled to capacity like many of our classrooms usually are. Additionally, so people will be spaced. But at the same, while things will be looking different in the classroom, our goal is that things and the key things that we do here at IUPUI feel the same. So it is, in large part, the goal is that we'll have a mix of face-to-face and remote work. And the face-to-face instruction is really going to be focused on helping students more deeply engage in the material. So think of it as perhaps watching a lecture online, and then having a face-to-face interaction in a classroom with fellow students and an instructor to discuss the material, to ask questions, or maybe even to go deeper and work on a project or an assignment together. So that's a brief snapshot. Now, that is true from August 24th through November 20th. The final 3 weeks of the fall semester, we will be completely online. Given the predictions around a second spike in the coronavirus, we've made the decision to conduct the last 3 weeks of the semester in a completely online environment.
Okay, thank you. That question came from Jay. If you're in the audience, we want to thank you for submitting that question. So, Dr. Gladden, do you have any feedback in terms of how a student may know if class is going to be online or if they're going to be in person?
Sure. So our folks right now are really busy, first toward the end of figuring out what the actual capacities of each of our classrooms are, and then working with our academic units to essentially identify how each of the courses will be offered in the fall semester. All that work, and students should be able to see the delivery format for their courses by mid-July. The student will be notified and given instructions on how to look at that. At which time, if the student wants to, or if you want to adjust your schedule, there will be an opportunity to do that by consulting advisors.
Thank you. So another hot topic that has emerged is around housing. This one is from Jalen Clark. And the question is, I have a sound housing contract. When do we move in?
Happy to answer that question.
Thank you, Dr. Weldy.
Yeah. So obviously, pre-COVID-19, we would have a couple of days, a Friday, Saturday, which would be the official move-in dates for new students. Obviously, with social distancing and other guidelines that have been set, we're going to take a different approach this fall to kick off a move-in. So what we're going to do is that students will be moving in anywhere from 7 to 10 days before the start of classes on August 24th. And so this will obviously allow for social distancing for us and so forth. So it'll be definitely a different approach. Students will receive more information as the fall semester draws near on all the details of registering for move-in and so forth.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, so when it comes to this is another question related to housing. When it comes to the plans for responding to COVID-19 and making sure that students that are living in the residence halls are safe, can you speak about that in terms of what the Division of Student Affairs response is to that?
Yes, happy to do so. One of the changes that we have this year is that we've been directed to provide single occupancy rooms for the fall, but we are making exceptions for those students who make mutual roommate requests. So roommate requests is a voluntary process that students will initiate and that we will not be initiating. So students they're rooming with someone because they have mutually selected their roommate. Other things that we'll be doing, obviously, is from the standpoint of making sure that surfaces are cleaned, daily. We will also be providing students with what they need from the standpoint of cleaning their areas on their floors and so forth. So the approach obviously will be much different than in previous years, but we're taking every precaution necessary to make sure that we have a safe, healthy environment.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So the way that it sounds, Dr. Weldy, I've been, I've safely been going to the grocery store, wearing my mask, wearing my gloves, and there's a ton of precautions that they've taken. They're wiping down carts, they're doing social distancing, and it sounds like you all have been doing an incredible job of really thinking ahead to ensure that the residence halls have a similar degree of intentionality to ensure that there's a sanitary space, not to mention, just all of the research that we've done in terms of COVID-19 to ensure that we're following best practices nationally. So thank you for that answer. We're going to shift to a question on textbooks. And so when should students start renting and buying textbooks in preparation for the fall? So Dr. Bradshaw, would you like to take this question?
Thank you, Errol. So the textbook question is a good question. And as Dr. Gladden had mentioned earlier, that we are working right now behind the scenes to determine what courses are going to be in what format. And by mid-July, we will have made that decision. At which point, and then more information would become available about the textbooks and the options. Understanding student situations, you may not be able to come to campus. You may choose not to come to campus to pick up the textbook. I know this is probably a very popular question, Stephanie Kiner, that you're receiving in orientation. So if there's anything that I've missed that you think you can add on to that, that would be great.
Yes, sure. Hi, everyone. Stephanie Kiner, I'm the Director for Orientation Services. And yes, so once you're registered for classes, so if you've met with an advisor and registered for classes, then you will be able to go onto the Barnes & Noble Bookstore website and look and see if any of your books are currently available for you to see what's available. So if the professor has already put something in, then it will be there. I would not recommend purchasing books just yet. You can if you like, but as Dr. Bradshaw said, some things could change, or you might decide to change your schedule depending, as Dr. Gladden said. So you might want to hold off just a little bit. But if you're curious enough and you want to go check it out and see, like I said, if you've already registered for classes, you can definitely hop in there and you'll be able to see what is available. The bookstore is currently closed, so coming to the bookstore is not an option at this time, but they do everything full service through their website. So if you want to visit anything there, they're also super folks to work with. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the bookstore directly, and they'll be able to help guide you in looking for those textbooks.
So Stephanie, I want to stay with you. Thank you for that response. The student success sessions as a part of the orientation experience. There's a ton of resources that are there in terms of IUPUI resources: housing, financial services, student affairs, parking, your Crimson Card, bookstore, student representatives. Students are really getting a lot, and I know there are several students in this space who have gone through it. There are some that are waiting. There was a question in terms of the academic advising piece, and a student wanted to know, specifically Alexander B., how do I switch to a dual degree major from my current major? Does that happen in the student success session? Is that somewhere in the orientation experience?
That does not, and that's a little bit of a specific situation. So I would highly recommend, if you've already met with an academic advisor, reach back out to that academic advisor. If I understand the question correctly, you're wanting to have two majors. You're wanting to have a double major, if I understand the question correctly. And so with that, what you'll need to do is meet with the advisor that you first submitted as for your application to IUPUI that you chose as your major. That's the advisor that you should start with. And mention to that advisor when you're meeting with them that you're interested in having a double major pathway, and that advisor will be able to send you in the correct direction to make sure that you're meeting with the other school and the other advisor to make sure that you're not doubling effort. You want to make sure that you're taking classes that are going to progress you through and not add a whole bunch of extra time as you do that. So that sounds fantastic. Good for you for being eager to do that. Definitely check with the academic advisors to make sure that that happens.
So live question just came in from Stephanie, from Alex. You're Stephanie. How does one set up an appointment with an academic advisor?
Absolutely. So we have designed a 12-step virtual orientation experience for you. And as you start that virtual orientation experience, you'll progress through 12 steps. About step 6 is the information to schedule an appointment with an advisor. And you can do that at any time. You don't have to wait for your student success session. You don't have to wait until you complete placement tests. You can go ahead and make that appointment now. We do highly recommend that you go ahead and take those placement tests at least 48 hours in advance of that advising appointment. So that way the advisor is fully prepared to get you set for your first semester schedule. If you haven't visited the virtual orientation website, please do so. You can find it at orientation.iupui.edu. In the top left, there's a button that says virtual orientation. Once you click on that, you're going to see that there's 4 sections. The first section takes you through a few pieces such as placement test. The second section is all about advising and how to get prepared for that advising appointment. And then the third and fourth sections have lots of general information that we want you to be aware of as you progress to campus. However, you can view that information at your leisure whenever it's convenient for you. We just want you to get through that information prior to the start of the semester so you're aware and have all the information that you need to make a successful transition.
Okay, and just want to let everybody know right below there is a link to what Stephanie was talking about, and you'll be able to see more details in terms of that link. So this is a question for Dr. Weldy, and what the on-campus social experience is going to look like. Can you talk about how social gatherings will be approached for when students want to come together, and not only from a safety standpoint, but also from the standpoint of the vision of how that's going to look in the fall?
Yes, thank you very much, Errol. What I can tell you in regards to social events and student activities on campus is that there will be both a virtual component to our activities and programs, as well as some face-to-face interactions as well. I think if you want to learn more about the clubs and organizations on campus, I would strongly suggest, if you have not already, to visit the Spot, which is the new name for what was previously called the Den. And it's located at den.iupui.edu. And you go there to learn more about our on-campus student organizations. We do have some activities at the beginning of the year that are long-standing traditions at IUPUI. One is the Weeks of Welcome, and the other is Regatta. And so I can tell you that both Weeks of Welcome and Regatta will be taking place this year, but we'll have a virtual component to them with some face-to-face interactions. Obviously, we have to limit the size of our some of our activities. And so what you'll find on campus is that you'll find that a number of events will be taking place outdoors, which will be great. So it'll allow for really more spacing and more interaction amongst our student body. But we're really looking at focusing on how best to engage our students, whether you'll be taking classes virtually or face-to-face.
I want to bring Dr. Shabazz in, who leads our Multicultural Center and does a tremendous amount of work around our diversity efforts. Can you talk a little bit about the on-campus experience from a diversity standpoint, especially as we're looking at a news cycle that's showing a lot around race as a result of the tragedies that have happened? Can you talk about IUPUI's approach in terms of those campus resources?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, the Multicultural Center, and the LGBTQ+ Center, I want to welcome you to IUPUI as a fellow alum, I am excited to have you all join us this evening and see you soon this fall. The Multicultural Center and the LGBTQ+ Center have really been working hard to make sure that we are doing our part to advance the social change on our campus in our city, but also to provide a diverse, equitable, and safe campus environment. We believe in having constructive opportunities for dialogue, creating opportunities for people to learn and engage with difference in all forms. So we welcome you to take a look at many of the resources that we have on the diversity.iupui.edu webpage. We have a variety of educational books, articles, videos, movies, links to a number of things to help you really understand the way we see civility and the way that we see social justice in the form of being a Jaguar and coming together. So there will be plenty of things to do to engage in virtually across our campus coming this fall and into the spring that will really allow opportunities to get to know yourselves a little bit better, but also get to know each other and be able to really work to advance the social change.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shabazz. It sounds like students have something to look forward to in terms of the student experience and opportunities to engage one another. It's going to be a mix of in-person and virtual, but it's going to be thoughtful and impactful. So that's exciting to hear. So the summertime, we have orientation, and after orientation, there is something called Summer Bridge Week. And so you all have gotten communication around this, and we encourage all incoming students to take advantage of this. I'd like to bring in Dr. Gladden to answer a question in regards to how the Summer Bridge Week and the program is going to work, and is there still going to be a move-in? And this question came from Jalene Boyd. Jalene Boyd.
Well, thanks for the question. And I will begin the answer, and then I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Heather Bowman, who actually coordinates the Bridge Week program. But I am excited to let everyone know that for the first time ever, every freshman is going to have an opportunity to take part in our Bridge Week, which will happen the week before classes start. So August 17th to August 21st. And it's going to be a mix of virtual and remote activities. Some of those will be what's called synchronous, meaning they'll be live, just like we're doing right now. And some will be asynchronous, so maybe viewing a video on some of the resources that exist at IUPUI. This will be complemented by some face-to-face activities that are optional, but on campus. And going back to this, just the notion of that Dr. Weldy spoke about, we envision a lot of outdoor activities given the great weather we tend to have in August and September. But in particular in August, we should be able to do a number of optional Bridge Week activities outside on the IUPUI campus. At this point, I'd just like to give Heather a chance to talk a little bit more in detail about that.
Great, thank you. So I'm Heather Bowman. I'm Director of First Year Experience at IUPUI, and we are so excited to offer Bridge Week to all of our freshmen this year. This is a program that's happened on our campus for 20 years, and in every one of those 20 years, we have students who didn't get a chance to participate because by this point in the summer, it's really full and we're running waiting lists. And so it's incredibly exciting to us that we get to open this program up to all incoming freshmen this year. Our goal in Bridge Week is really to give you all the tools that you need to hit the ground running that first week of classes. So everything from sessions on what do professors expect from you, to how the library works, to how do you actually get involved with all those student organizations that Chancellor Padar mentioned. How do you start that process? How do you connect to the school or major that you've chosen? Or how do you find one if you're still exploring? We even this year are adding some sessions for parents and families. We know that you are key to supporting your student during this, what's a really big transition, and we know it's a really big transition for you as well. So adding some sessions for parents and families this year. But really, again, our goal is to get all your questions answered and to we could let you start connecting with faculty and with students who are currently at IUPUI and having great success and getting to know each other. So making friends among the class of 2024. Again, it's the first time we've opened this program to all students, and we're hoping that this becomes a new tradition on the IUPUI campus. So we're really excited that that tradition is going to start with the class of 2024.
That sounds great. And you know, the Zoom experience, although you all are experiencing us right now, us through chat and us speaking directly to you, we're getting very creative in terms of how we engage students within the Zoom space, breakout rooms, group conversations, giving you the opportunity to connect with one another and feel a sense of community before you come to IUPUI, as we know that's really important for you. So this next question, important to students, but absolutely we know is important to parents, financial aid and money. So we're going to bring Dr. Bradshaw back for this question. And this one is from JT Poor. And the question is, when will we find out what financial aid packages we will receive? Dr. Bradshaw?
Thank you, Errol. And I have the right expert in the room with us today to kind of answer that question. And it also gives me the opportunity to introduce Mr. Marvin Smith, who is our Director of Student Financial Services here at IUPUI. And we are working very hard behind the scenes with all students, both our continuing students, but also our new students, in making sure that our financial aid packages are out in a timely manner. So Marvin, would you like to share a little bit of information about timing?
Sure. So, and I've seen a few questions that are in the chat. The bill for the fall semester tuition is comes out in August and is due September 10th. The financial aid that students receive will be applied to that bill, and then any excess that doesn't go towards tuition fees and housing is refunded back to the student. That process begins the week before classes start. So if you have set up direct deposit and you're expecting financial aid funds back, you could have a refund as early as August 20th, somewhere around there. So I think that we really highlight this in the student success sessions. Encourage you to definitely sign up for that. I think that that's another term for orientation this summer, because I saw that as another question in the chat. Encourage you to sign up for a student success session, and we will talk to you about everything there is to know about financial aid. We know this is a confusing topic. If you are not aware of your financial aid awards, you can go into the self-service system and see your awards. You can also call us and email us, and I'll put that information in the chat.
Okay, so very good. And again, at the end, many of you all have been working with with admissions counselors that you become very familiar with, and you've met academic advisors from your schools. And of course, you've talked with financial aid counselors. We've got people that can get you to the right place, and we want to make sure the money conversation, you feel really good about that. And so we'll come back to some more questions as you put them into the chat around finances. I want to go back to go to another question in terms of housing. We want to bring Dr. Weldy back to this to the conversation. This is from Nadia. And she said, I have a housing contract in University Tower. If I don't request a roommate, will it be moved to a different dorm? I think this is in relation to the self-selecting roommate process that we have in place, as part of our COVID-19 safety precautions. Can you speak on the singles versus the double standard and practice for housing and residence life, please?
Yes. So in regards to having a contract, if you have not selected a roommate, once again, I would strongly suggest that you identify someone mutually in regards to having a roommate. If not, then there's a possibility that you could end up in a single occupancy room. but your chances are better from the standpoint of identifying a roommate for the coming year. The tower, we have doubles in the tower. So if you are seeking a single occupancy room, the odds are that you will end up in another residence hall.
So that's an important disclaimer, okay? And so if you're having, we as an institute, as a university are not a part of facilitating the roommate process, but this is a great opportunity to promote the Facebook Class of 2024 group. A lot of great conversation between students asking the question in regards to who's going to be living on campus, do you want to room together? Another great idea, I know we've got a lot of our academic units and they have admissions partners, and several of you all have been working with them throughout the cycle. Talk to your academic unit as well and say, hey, can you help? Is there an opportunity for us to talk with some of our peer incoming students that are from the same major? Now, they can't help in terms of that process. You have to put yourself out there, but we certainly don't want to put you out the tower if that's where you want to be. But from Dr. Weldy's what he shared, we're going to have to make sure that you have a roommate. Okay, so our next question, and I'm going to go. Okay, this is from Elise, and this is going to go back to Dr. Gladden. And it's regards to classes. So our biggest question is when will our students know if the classes that she has already registered for will be moved online, take place on campus, or be hybrid? Do you have a general sense of when that is going to be, Dr. Gladden?
Yes, again, by mid-July is when we expect all of that information to be fully available to students, and they will receive a notification with directions on how to see that information when it becomes available. So by mid-July, students will be able to see what format their course will be in. So I hope that answers the question.
So many of you all have been doing a great job on staying up to date on your emails, okay? We're gonna keep engaging you via email, and you can also engage us at any time, pick up the phone and call and check in and say, hey, is there an update? But we're going to be proactively pushing information out there to you all so you feel confident that you have all the details that you need. And let me just say this again, you can't reach out to us too much, okay? We're here to partner with you as we go through this, and just know we have students out there that have parents that have gone to college. We have first generation college students that are out there. We've got students from rural Indiana. We have students from out of state, students from, the Indianapolis area. We want to engage all of you all and make sure that we answer those questions. So let's go to placement exams. I'm going to bring Stephanie back in for this. This is from Brianna. When are placement exams in orientation required to be completed?
Yeah, I assume you're asking about a deadline, and there's not really a deadline per se. We want you to have that placement test completed at least 48 hours in advance of your advising appointment. So that's kind of your deadline. If you have an advising appointment set, you want to have those placement tests taken prior to that advising appointment. We will continue to do placement tests all summer long. We will continue to have you meeting with your advisor all summer long. However, sooner rather than later is better. We will have some outreach happening starting in July with current undergraduate students who will reach out to you to help you with the rest of the transition to starting in the fall semester. So if you are registered and have classes, then that leader is going to start reaching out to you then. As soon as you register, that leader will start reaching out to you then. So that outreach starts in July. And so if you wanted to have a deadline as far as when to have everything completed by, July 6th would be one. But again, whenever that advising appointment is, we want you to make sure you have those placement tests completed at least 48 hours in advance of that.
Okay, I want to stay with you, Stephanie. So in the spirit of inclusivity, because that's the ethic of who we are as an institution at IUPUI, we do know going through this COVID-19 crisis that there are just some students that don't have reliable internet, and some students that from an access standpoint, they've had challenges. Are there any accommodations that are being made for those who may not be able to complete their placement test online? And what would you advise those individuals to do?
Yeah, I think that just having a conversation with your academic advisor and letting them know. The university is providing free Wi-Fi, but that would mean sitting in your car taking a placement test, which doesn't necessarily sound the most appealing. But it is an option if you should need an opportunity to have Wi-Fi. There is available on campus. But I would reach out to the academic advisor and let them know there are some things that they could be able to suggest as far as making some decisions based on coursework that you've done previously in high school. Also, if you've had any dual credit or any AP, there may be some decisions that each individual school can make based on that. So I would recommend if having reliable internet connection or Wi-Fi is something that is an issue. On our website, on the virtual orientation website, there is an opportunity to find out where that free Wi-Fi is located. That is an option. That is something that you can do. But I think reaching out to that advisor and talking to that advisor about those constraints and concerns, they will be able to offer some solutions as far as progressing through with your course enrollment.
I just also wanted to add that there are some local cable companies and other organizations that are offering some discounted and or free internet services. So I would contact your local providers to see if you can make arrangements to access either the free or reduced pricing on some of the access.
I want to bring Dr. Weldy in to talk about some of the resources that we have for any students that may come to Indianapolis and may have challenges with accessing food, clothing. What do we do as an institution to support our students in that regard?
Yes. One of the key resources that we have on campus is our Office of Student Advocacy and Support, and we call it OSAS for short. And so OSAS is the place to go from the standpoint of students who are in need of various kinds of resources, as you noted. I will let you know that we do have a food pantry on campus, which is called Paul's Pantry. And so it is available to any student who is in need. And so that will definitely be available for students. We also have Paul's Closet. So if you're looking to interview, for an internship or something like that, there is clothing available for you. We have other resources available for you as well. Life doesn't stop once you attend college, and so we definitely serve as really kind of an advocate, for you if you're having challenges in regards to whether you get sick and you're missing class, or whether or not there's a death in the family. It's just a wide range of issues that you can come across as a student. And so we are here to support you. And so student advocacy and support is a great place in regards to resources. And not just resources on campus, they can also direct you to resources within the Indianapolis area as well.
Okay, so let's throw a couple of names out there. Chick-fil-A, all right, Panda Express, okay, an all-you-can-eat cafeteria, okay, with amazing food options. Einstein Brothers, lot of food options that are on campus. Dr. Bradshaw and or Dr. Weldy, what's food gonna look like on campus this fall?
I will start, and Dr. Weldy, I'll hand it off to you. That is a common and a very popular question that we're receiving right now, and we're working behind the scenes actually on some resolutions. Our first step is to really align the meal plan packages with the academic calendar, as well as for those students living on campus. And we have dining available in the tower, but also in the campus center. And we're also going through protocol right now with social distancing guidelines in order to make sure that we meet those and that it is a safe environment. Dr. Weldy, do you have anything additional?
Nothing really, but only that the Division of Student Affairs with Housing and Residence Life, we do work in collaboration with dining services. And so, you know, it's a great opportunity, I think, for you in regards to dining services, because they provide, they really go out of their way to accommodate our students. If you have any food allergies or things like that, you know, our chefs and staff there are definitely willing to work with you.
And just so everyone's aware, we will have dining. I mean, that is a question we get a lot. We will have dining available for students, faculty, and staff.
All right, that question came from Alicia. I'm going to tell you what, Alicia, when we get all those answers, you get a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on me. All right, so that's my commitment to you. All right, we're going to keep it going with the on-campus experience. This one's from Maverick. Great name. I have applied for work study employment, and I wanted to know if those would still be available to those who applied. So work study employment, who would like to take that?
I can try, Earl. Student employment is a key feature of the IUPUI student experience. And we are particularly focused on those students that qualify for federal work study funds. And in fact, we even have a job portal, Jag Jobs, where students can look for available jobs on campus. Since the change in our mode of operation, actually, one might think that students weren't able to work anymore in remote settings. Actually, quite the opposite is true, in that we had many students that were able to work remotely in their on-campus jobs, and many great supervisors. IUPUI has a ton of fabulous student employment supervisors that went out of their way to create valuable student work experiences. So there's a process through which you look for a job, but there will be student employment opportunities available, particularly related to the federal work study question.
Errol, if I can give a plug for the Division of Student Affairs,
Yes,
we employ roughly about 250 or so students. We would not be able to do what we do in the Division of Student Affairs if it were not for our student employees. So the Division of Student Affairs is made up of 9 units. You are familiar with some of them: Housing and Residence Life, also in regards to the campus center, and some of the operations there. And so we're definitely excited about our student employees and the work they do for us.
Okay, and as we're talking about jobs, I'd be remiss if I did not mention that one of the reasons so many students come to IUPUI is our location, and just the accessibility of internships, co-ops, you know, the jobs that students lead to afterwards. I affectionately call IUPUI the home of the semester and year-long internship. So unlike other schools that are further, where you have to drive into the city, it's right in our backyard. So we have some great offerings that are on campus, but we got some amazing connections that are within the city. Kennedy, I have not forgotten about you. I see you are out there. We're going to go back to Summer Bridge. So Dr. Gladden and Ms. Bowman, will scholarships cover Bridge? And how will scholarships cover textbooks and meal plans? So it could be a mix of you as well as Dr. Bradshaw. So take it away.
Well, here's the good news. Bridge Week is free, so you won't need a scholarship to participate in that. And I will then turn it over to Dr. Bradshaw.
Dr. Gladden, I was going to say everyone gets a scholarship for Bridge Week. That is great that you have the opportunity to attend that week without having to pay for it. So what a great experience. And in regards to Errol, the other question was about the room and board, correct? And also textbooks?
Correct, that is correct.
Yeah, I will have Marvin Smith answer that question. But one thing I do want to say about scholarships and financial aid, you know, Marvin's office is available to answer any specific questions. And we do work individually one-on-one with all students, and we also understand financial situations have changed. We want to be able to have that opportunity. And so if you're in a situation, you need assistance, our doors are open. We want to have a conversation. We want to learn about your situation as well. Very, very important to us as we transition to the fall. With that said, Marvin, you want to answer the specifics?
Sure. Financial aid questions are always seems to be answered with "it depends." So I really want to echo what Dr. Bradshaw said, is that if you have any questions about whether you have enough scholarship and financial aid to pay for your living expenses, your residence hall expenses, your books, supplies, your travel costs, we really talk about it at the student success session. We want you to do the math and try to figure out, how much is going to cover tuition and how much is going to cover your other costs. Encourage you to reach out to us. Email us finaid@iupui.edu, and we can provide some individualized guidance on what it looks like you're going to qualify for. There are steps that you need to take to finalize a student loan, if that might be something that you need to help you pay for college costs. And then the other thing I want to echo that Dr. Bradshaw said is we know that folks have been impacted by unemployment and the coronavirus. And again, I encourage you to reach out. We can do an evaluation, a reevaluation of your financial aid eligibility. We have something called a special circumstance form. I encourage you to reach out and talk to a financial aid counselor. I put that contact information in the chat, and we can give you an idea on how that process works and whether it's going to be beneficial in your unique circumstances.
Thank you, Marvin. Financial aid can sometimes be scary for students and parents. Something that we talk about in terms of the Office of Admissions is, there's money you have to pay back and money you don't. Money that you have to pay back are going to be your loans, right? Money you don't have to pay back are going to be things called grants and scholarships, right? And so if you want to have a high level conversation to just understand what that looks like, as Marvin said, reach out to our office. We can walk you through that and then get you connected for those next steps. So thank you for that. And so let's go to housing is a hot topic. Housing is a hot topic. Dr. Weldy's smiling. I see him smiling, and we want to make sure we get those questions answered. So let me throw a couple that are out there. So one is, can I find a roommate even though I haven't yet received a housing contract? Dr. Weldy?
The answer to that question is yes. You can find a roommate, but if you want to make sure that you have a roommate and you have a housing assignment, be sure to submit that contract. But the answer to the question is yes. Okay. I'm going to ask another housing question. So there are still those that are out there waiting for their housing contract, and your team has been doing a great job of getting them out in a methodical way and ensuring that students are being communicated with. Can you say anything about the next wave of outbound contracts for those who are still out there waiting to see where they're going to be living in the fall with us? Yeah, sure. So housing contracts offers go out every Thursday. And I understand that I haven't received my latest update in regards to this week. And I can tell you that last week we had about 100 or so go out. And I expect more this week as well. So every Thursday, the housing offers go out. And so they're coming. They're coming.
Okay. Very good. And a word about housing before I move on to my next question. We know that this is one of the number one questions that many of you all have. And because we understand the value of the housing experience for you all that are looking to come to college, we want to make sure that we get it right. And so our commitment to you is as we go through from here and moving forward, we're going to partner with you. And as we get new decisions, we'll make sure that we let you know. And so thank you for your patience with us. And just know that the amount of care we're taking is in full attention and respect of the fact that you all are making a decision to send, for parents, send your loved ones to us. And we receive that, and we hold that in highest regard. And students, that you want to have the best 4 years of your life. And the housing experience is a part of that. So I want to thank Dr. Weldy and his team for what they're doing to get the answers and to make sure that we are solidified in this regard. So, let's go to Dr. Gladden. This one is from Madison. And before I start, we are at 6, but we've got some really great questions that are coming in, and nobody is left. So we're going to extend it for about another 15 minutes. And keep sending us the questions. If you have to go, this will be recorded, and we will send this out in a follow-up email with all of the links below. So feel free to leave. Madison asks, what about finals? Well, are those going to be online? And how does that winter session work with the overlap of fall and spring semester? So we're talking about now the academic experience again. Dr. Gladden?
Thank you, Errol. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this, and I'm sharing a graphic that you should be able to see now. This is a common question, and particularly as it relates to the schedule. So to help make it easier, the easiest way to understand it is to think about our fall semester of 2020, and all of our classes, as I mentioned earlier, will happen in a combination of face-to-face, remote, and online experiences. And that'll happen from August 24th to November 20th. The full fall semester runs until December 20th, and that would be a 16-week semester. A number of classes will be 16 weeks in nature. That's how that's the most common form for classes. The last 3 weeks of that 16 weeks, from November 30 to December 20, will be fully online. So if you would have a final in that period, that final would be online. There are some courses that are shifting to the 13-week period. And it's very possible that if you have one of those courses that's 13 weeks, that the final could take place right before Thanksgiving. And that final could be in a classroom or a testing center or something along those lines on campus. The spring semester will run from January 19th, which is actually starting a week late, until May 9th. The first 3 weeks of that semester will be online only. And again, the last 3 weeks of fall and the first 3 weeks of spring being online are to help protect the safety of the IUPUI community. First and foremost, we're concerned about safety. But after those first 3 weeks in the spring semester, we'll move to the same mix, in-person and online experiences from February 8th to May 9th. In addition, this year we're offering something new. The opportunity to take some additional online courses in that winter period. First of all, let me say, the winter session, as you've heard about or read about it, is not mandatory in any way, shape, or form. Instead, it may be an opportunity to get ahead, and get ahead at no extra cost. So as a part of the fall semester, there will be a 3-week online session that'll run from November 30th to December 20th. And that will be a part of the fall semester. And can be already, if you've only got 15 credit hours, if you took 3 credit hours then, that would actually not cost you any additional money because of banded tuition, which covers, it's the same price for 12 to 18 credit hours. In the spring semesters, there's 2 options. One is another 3-week format, which runs from January 19th to February 7th. And then there's a 6-week format, which starts on December 21st and runs through February 7th. Both of those are part of the spring semester. So the next logical question is, how will I know about these course offerings? Well, for the spring semester, both the 3-week session in January and the 6-week session that would run December through January, those course offerings will become available and be widely promoted prior to the registration for the spring semester. For the 3-week session in the fall, that will become, those courses will be communicated about once you're on campus.
Very good. So after Thanksgiving, I'm an IUPUI student. I'm gonna be able to do everything online, you know, whether it's in my residence hall or it's back home with my family. I'm gonna be virtual. And then those additional sessions, it's a chance for me to really get ahead of the game. So I'm going to go to Dr. Weldy as we talk about this class structure, and keep in mind is the decision. It's a tough one by Dr. Padar, Dr. Johnson, who are the leaders of our campus. But we know that flu season, okay, is a time as we look across the United States within higher education that we need to be prepared to keep you all safe. And so that making this challenging decision is one that puts your safety at the forefront. But we're up for the challenge to make sure that you all have a dynamic virtual and online experience. So Dr. Weldy, the winter session happens. It's going over, you know, through the month of December into January over Christmas. Will students have to leave the residence halls if they're living in the residence halls?
Era, what we're asking is that students who will be living in the residence halls, come Thanksgiving break, we are asking students to return home. Now, we do understand that certain students do have extenuating circumstances. For example, if you're an international student, or maybe if you're a domestic student and there are other situations that would keep you from being able to return home. What we're looking at is setting up a process where a student can basically petition to stay in the halls during that time. But mind you, I mean what I said before in regards to it must be extenuating circumstances. So there is no guarantee that if you petition to stay, that you will be granted approval to stay. But we are expecting all students who are able to return home over break, that you do return home over that break.
All right, so we're not going to put anybody out. Let's be very clear about that. We're going to work with you, your families, you know, during that time period. If for whatever reason, you going home is something that is of challenge to you. But again, as Dr. Weldy mentioned, it's the height of flu season, and we want to make sure that we're preparing in advance to keep the campus safe and keep you safe first and foremost. So for those who are going to be on campus, there's a question about masks. Is everybody going to be required to wear masks? And then and this is all from Macy, so is there a student health center on campus? And is there a cost to use it? Or is that included in a student's tuition and fees? And what are those days and hours that it's going to be open? So it's a kind of a two-part question. What's the on-campus experience going to look like as it relates to masks? And where do I go if I want to get checked up and make sure that my health is okay? I'll leave it open for anyone to take this question.
Well, I'll take the part in regards to campus health center. So we have 2 locations on campus. One location is in the campus center, which is really our student union on campus. And so we have a student health center there. Our main health center for students is also over in Coleman Hall, on the first floor of Coleman Hall. And so open Monday through Fridays. Now, because of COVID-19, there will be obviously some social distancing and other things that we'll initiate in order to keep everyone safe, all of our students safe. But we do have Campus Health Center on campus where you can be seen by health professionals.
Okay. All right, so the next question is in regards to loans. And it's a broad question. I think it's a great question because a lot of people don't know how loans work. You know we have to pay it back, but what is the difference between a loan? What is a loan first and foremost, and how do they work? And what's the difference between loan extended through a university versus, say, a private loan?
Sure, I
Well,
can.
I would ask you, I just want to, Arrow, just get back to the question about the masks. I think that's
Oh, sure.
I think
Absolutely. Absolutely.
then I will go on to Marvin for this next question. I think that's a really important question. And IU has established guidelines, and a mask will be required on campus, in the classroom, and in common areas where there are other people, including visitors to campus, all faculty and staff. The university will be providing 2 masks per student, and they will be cloth masks, which you can put them in the laundry, and there will be guidelines around that. Obviously, if you're in private spaces and not around other individuals, you won't be required to wear that mask, but that is a safety precaution that we are implementing right now. I mean, it started here June 1st. Some of the campus has started to open up a little bit. Also, Chancellor Padar mentioned in the beginning about IU Health's relationship with IUPUI, and the availability of that testing is really important. That's free of charge. That's a benefit that we're providing to anyone, faculty, staff, and students. And so if someone believes they are sick and would want to be tested, it's really, there's an easy way to do that as a student, but also as faculty and staff members.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Bradshaw. Now we'll go back to the loan question, and we'll bring our Executive Director for Student Financial Services, Marvin Smith, in.
Yeah, student loan process is tricky, especially if you haven't ever gone through this process before. So one of the requirements of receiving federal student loans is to file the FAFSA. That's the first step. So if folks have filed the FAFSA, they likely are eligible for a federal student loan. That loan might be subsidized where the interest is paid by the government. It might be unsubsidized where the interest is accruing. The step that you have to go through is to decide how much you want to borrow, and then accept that in self-service, and then sign a master promissory note. So some of those details we can walk you through. You can ask us individually. We talk about it in depth at the student success sessions. And one of the things we say is only borrow what you need. And your goal should be to graduate from IUPUI as quickly as possible with as little debt as possible. And I think that the financial aid counselors can help devise a plan to make sure you're only borrowing absolutely what you need.
Thank you, Marvin. And my advice to you, to anyone that wants to consider loans, talk to somebody here. We'll break it down for you. We'll make sure that you understand it. We won't make the decision for you, okay? Because that is going to be a call that you and your family need to make, but we'll make sure that you have a full understanding of what it is. I'm going to do one more question. This has been great. You all have asked some really thoughtful questions. We're going to bring it back to the classroom experience that we're bringing to all of our incoming students. So Dr. Gladden, this one has to do with online classes. What is the typical response time for teachers for student questions on assignments? And how would a student get help if they needed it during the online period? And that's from Jade.
Actually, the online environment is one where students tend to have more frequent interactions with faculty members because of things like threaded discussions and a number of different assignments that might occur. And people are doing work at all hours of the day. And so the faculty member is engaging with that course it's not like a scheduled class time when they go deliver a lecture and then they go do other work. The online class is something, and having taught online, I can speak to this. It's something that you're always paying attention to. So I would expect that response time is within 24 hours for sure, and often much sooner than that. Personally, as a faculty member, I like to let the students that are in my class know that if they send me an email that night, they'll get a response the next morning for sure.
Many of you all have gone through e-learning. as a result of this COVID-19 period with your high schools. I'd imagine some have been positive experience, some have been unfavorable experiences. We're doing everything we can to make sure it's as positive as it can be, and so we're gonna keep shaping it and giving you information about what that classroom experience is going to look like. So we're going to pull up a slide and we're going to make some final comments for you all to see on the screen. I'll wait a moment. So this is a picture of a group of individuals that many of you all may already know that have been there with you from the very beginning, back in the fall of 2019, walking you through every step in the admissions process. This is the Office of Undergraduate Admissions counseling team. And so everybody that may not have gotten their answers, their questions answered, will have the chance to, and we're going to put the link down in the bottom, submit a request for an individualized appointment to speak with one of these accomplished individuals. Now, keep in mind that you're at a stage in terms of your transition to where the admissions counselors, we're the generalists. We'll help you understand IUPUI, point you to resources. There's plenty of experts that are on this call. But the academic advisor in your school, once you go through your student success session and engage your orientation experience, that's going to be a huge resource for you as well. Furthermore, there's many academic unit partners in terms of admissions staff members and faculty that you can work with as well. But if at any time you need to ask a question, or you get lost in the process, or you're feeling discouraged, don't check out on this. Pick up the phone and call. Okay. And so stay up to date in terms of new answers. You're going to go to this link, this website that you see on the screen for new updates. We're also going to proactively send this to your email. So parents, make sure you're ensuring that your students are checking their email regularly. And if you're not on the Class of 2024 Facebook group yet, please join. It's in the bottom here, and we've added the link. There's a lot of action and engagement. When we see questions, we've got all of these partners that you saw on the panel and their team members that are in there answering them. But for the most part, we want that to be a student experience where you all are sharing information and talking about ways to connect in anticipation for the fall. And of course, as I mentioned before, connect with one of the admissions counselors, but make sure you're also connecting with your academic advisor so that you have a direct access to your school. So with that being said, this is the end of our new Jags question and answer. There will be a follow-up email that will include a consolidation of all of the links that we put in the bottom of the chat. So if you didn't get some of those links, know that it's coming to you. And we're also going to get you the information on how to register for an individualized one-on-one visit with our admissions team. Remember, our admissions team is there to give you the high-level understanding. So there's no such thing as a stupid question or a question that shouldn't be asked. And from there, we'll plug you into the IUPUI resource that'll get you the more specific answer. We are so excited to have all of you here for the fall. And we're thankful that you all have stayed with us as we've gone through this journey together. It certainly has not been easy on us, and we imagine that it hasn't been easy on you all, both students and parents, but we're going to do everything that we can and continue to work tirelessly to make sure that when you walk through the doors of IUPUI in the fall, you're feeling incredibly special and thankful that you chose this destination to be the place that you're going to call home for the next 4 years of your life. Thank you all so much. We look forward to seeing you at orientation, look forward to seeing you at Summer Bridge Week, and definitely look forward to talking to you. Have a great evening.